Hello, Stampers. Welcome to Learning with Friends. My name is Pat Fairless, and I'm from Fairless Stamp and Flair. And today is Fun Fold Week. It is the last Friday of March, or last Thursday of March. And then the last week of the month, we do Fun Folds. So today I'm going to do a fun fold called a double pocket fun fold. It's super easy. And let's just go right ahead and get started. Okay. All right, this is my template that I make, and I usually make these for fun folds out of something either that's retired, or maybe wasn't crazy about it, or it's just what I had in my stash, because then I can keep it and refer back to it if I want to make it again. So I'm glad I did, because I made all these cards before on stage. And it's probably been 2 or 3 weeks since I made them, probably closer to 3. Man, I couldn't remember how to put it together. So I'm glad I had my little template. It is super easy. This is made out of a sheet of 8.5 by 11 inch designer series paper. And all there is some scoring. Once you cut your designer series paper down to 8.5 by 11, you just go ahead and start scoring. So one thing I did want to mention is this does work best with non-directional designer series paper. This is non-directional. You could have this in either direction, and it's not noticeable that it should go the other way, right? It's running horizontal or vertical. Maybe a little bit because some of the lines in here, but it could just as easily go this way. This side is definitely directional. Now you can make this card work if you have directional on one side and non-directional on the other. It'll work. If you have directional on both sides, something here is going to be going the wrong way. Either if you have your card front or this folded piece going correct, this is going to go horizontal. So it's easiest just to have both of them non-directional. But this card makes a little pocket here to slip in something, and another little pocket here to slip in something. So it would work great for gift card or just 2 decorated little pocket cards, which is what I did. So that's what I'm going to show you today. So now we're going to score this at 4.5 and 5.5 all the way down. And I did take my cutting blade off. I'm sorry, not 4.5, 4.25. We're going to end up with standard size A2 card, 5.5 by 4.25. My cutting blade off because I have been known to cut when I'm supposed to score. So, and of course my camera's kind of like right in my way. And because I am scoring designer series paper, you do want to use a little bit of a light hand. A little bit easy with it, and that's it. So we are going to put it so this side direction is going correct, and I'm going to close it and just watch your edges and get your edges aligned as best you can all the way around, and then use your bone folder. If you don't have a bone folder, grab an acrylic block. You can use an acrylic block and use that as a bone folder. It works great. And then we're going to close it in the other direction, but I found it's easier if I just kind of do it each one separately first. So I'm not trying to fold 2 pieces at once. If they are not perfectly aligned, don't worry too much about it. Reason being is we're going to flip a couple of those corners over, so it's not real noticeable if it's not 100% straight. So now we're going to fold it closed. And you can see I've got some little of the other side showing here, but that's all right. You won't know it once your card is done. So give these a good varnish. And again, it is designer series paper, so you do have to be a little bit careful. Now we're going to open this back up, and I will show you what this looks like open. This is what I'm calling the inside. So this side. And if I lace that up, I'm going to take the top left corner and the bottom right corner and just fold them in. And I'm going to fold this point so this, I should move that so you could see it. That would be helpful. So this line aligns with this line, okay? So just, and you could score this. I think it's easier to do it this way because if you miss the scoring, you're going to have to try to fight the score a little bit anyway. So you want to get it right up to that corner here, down in the bottom, and right there. And once you got this one where you want it, and that one, just hold it and press with your bone folder. Okay, and we're going to flip it, and we're going to do the same thing in this corner. We want this edge to align with this fold line, or score line, whatever you want to call it. Okay. And just kind of hold it firmly and press it with your bone folder. And then when I close this up and I fold this over, we now have our completed double pocket fun fold. That is all there is to it. Everything after this is just decorating. So if you don't want to watch me decorate the card, you've seen how to do it. I do have 3 additional cards that are kind of cute that you might want to stick around to see. I am using, this is the Perennial Lavender Designer Series paper, and I'm using the Painted Lavender stamp set and dies for this card. And I am going to make a pocket card, I call it, that goes into each pocket. Let's just go ahead and make that first. So the fun one, I'm trying to make these kind of easy. The first one, I just used some of this paper from this same set, and we're just going to make this. I'm going to stamp a sentiment on here and call it good. So I decided I used up my last sympathy card this week. We don't usually have too many of those on hand, but it's always good to have them because I hate to make them when I need them. So I am using the Something Fancy because the Painted Lavender has no sentiment. So we're just going to use, for this front one, I'm going to use it from Something Fancy. And this is probably going to be crooked because this is smack dab under my camera. Close enough. I am happy with that. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to adhere this after I cover that up. I know myself. I will lay something in there if I don't cover it up. Who else has that problem? I learned that the hard way many, many years ago, and sometimes I still forget. So okay, and that's all at this point that I plan to do. And so we stick that in there, and it just coordinates nicely. I could have chosen to go this way. I debated back and forth. But I decided I wanted a little bit more up here in this corner. The big debate was this butterfly's right side up, this one's upside down, this one's upside down. If I went this way, this corner would show that one was upside down, but these were right side up. I gave up and said, it's just going that way. Butterflies fly upside down, I guess. So now let's make the other pocket. We're going to make the pocket cards first, and then I'm going to add some decoration on here. Now, you will see on a couple of the cards I show you that I also did some added. You can decorate over here. You can put a panel. You can do something here and a pocket card. I chose not to do that today just to keep this short. So what I'm going to do on here is, first thing I'm going to do is grab a piece of paper, and I'm going to stamp a flower on here. So I'm going to use these flowers right here, and we're just going to stamp those down there. And I will start with the background, which I'm going to use Highland Heather. This is a 2-step stamp, and when you get these stamps, the one that looks bigger and less detailed is the one that goes first. This is Highland Heather, and I'm just going to lightly stamp off. I should have my paper piercing mat since this is a photopolymer stamp set. And let's just put him down here in the corner. And yeah, close that up. Due to my own personal problem. And we will stamp this with Gorgeous Grape. And this just stamps right over top of it. And I'm doing this one full strength, just to give it a little bit more variation in color. And I also thought maybe I would stamp 1 or 2 of these leaves up here in the corner. I have not made this card. Usually I have completed a sample, or oftentimes I have completed a sample before I start stamping in front of you guys, because I don't want to look totally ridiculous. But this time I did not. So let's just see how this goes. Here I'm using some Lost Lagoon. And that way, when I tuck this in here, it'll peek out of there, so it looks like it's something. And I do have a little scrap of Designer Series paper that I thought I would just cover the bottom down here. And as I usually do, it is a little long. That is my way of adding strips, because I'd rather have it long and trim it off the back so it's even than potentially in my cutting, cut one end a little short. Cut it a little short or this a little large. And there's that. So let's go ahead and put that on this. And I think I told you, I do this on the side for some reason. I am not sure. Just works better for me. Do it whichever way you feel. Got a little adhesive right there. So who has these adhesive racers? Stamp I've used to sell them. We don't anymore. But I have an old one. They last forever. So once you buy one, unless you lose it, you never have to buy another. But I think I have seen them like at Michael's or some other stamping store. So now all this needs is a sentiment. So I am going to use, for this, I made this a sympathy card, as I said, so I'm going to use this Courage and Faith, Trust in the Lord with all your heart, for my inside of my card. Or I should say my inside pocket card. That'll work. Okay, so my 2 pocket cards are done. That didn't take too long. Now I'm going to make a little thing here for the front, and we're going to do a little bit more stamping. I am going to make a couple more of those flowers that we just made, these, and I'm also going to cut or make one of these stems. We're just going to make like a bouquet of flowers for that. So let's go ahead and do the stems first, and we'll just do those with Lost Lagoon. And we have Pierce Madkin. This is because this is a photopolymer stamp, if I haven't mentioned that. It just, it has a little bit of cushion that you're stamping on. It just gives you a little bit better image. So let me get this out of the way. So, all right, now we're going to stamp a couple more of those flowers. That's Highland Heather. I got to keep them straight. Highland Heather. And here's Gorgeous Grape for the other one. So I'm going to do 2 of these. And I might need another scrap, but that's fine. I'm going to do 1 full strength Highland Heather. And the second one, I'm going to stamp off. I wouldn't have had to re-ink. I could have just stamped. I realized that after I did that. So now I want my Gorgeous Grape. And I'm going to stamp the first one with full strength. And then I'm just going to go over and do the second one. So now I have 2 flowers, and that is really, really light. So let's get a partial again. In fact, you can hardly even see that I did it. Perfect. And now these get die cut with coordinating dies from that painted, easy for you to say, painted lavender stamp set. But you can tell this one's a little lighter because it was stamped off like I did the one on the inside, and this one's a little darker. And we're going to make a bouquet with the stems. And voila, by the magic of TV, I have done that. I die cut those out, and then I just adhered the bottoms of these directly to the top of this, tied a couple strings of linen thread around there, made a bow. And I also I die cut a couple of these from Lost Lagoon cardstock. So we are going to, I'm just going to open this up because it lays a little bit flatter. And I want to put these on here. So it's kind of off to one side and peeking out the top. Now I could glue those directly to here, which is probably the easiest thing to do, as long as I know where to glue them, but that's kind of what I'm after. Something like that, maybe down just a little bit, you think? How about right there? So I'm going to go ahead and glue these directly to this, but I'm just going to glue this bottom portion. And I want to show you a trick on how I do this. When I forget to put my adhesive sheet, which is often. And in this case, I'm going to have some of it sticking above on the one, so I really didn't want adhesive sheet. But here's a great way to add adhesive to the back of these. You could take this and, drizzle it on there. But here's how I like to do it when I have little detail cutouts. I just put a little pile on my silicone mat, grab a sponge, dab a lot of it off, and then just take this and dab it on the back. That way you get it just where you want it. Now, where did I have that? It was all the way down, wasn't it? Right about there, maybe. And I'm only going to do the bottom. I'm going to leave this loose. I like to leave it loose because it gets a little bit, it just adds a little dimension, I think. So now where do I want this one? So these we're going to go right about here, and I want this up beyond. them. So probably about right there. Now, am I going to remember that, where that goes? Probably not. So my cheating way is I mark where the end of this is on there, and maybe mark one of these other ones, just so I can see it when I lay it down. And we will grab a little bit more adhesive. Now, don't lay that upside down and where you just did it, like I almost just did, because you'll get glue on the front. And we don't want to do that. Okay, so I had the bottom right about there, and I had a little tip out right around there. And we'll just hold that for a minute. And you can keep this. This is a sponge I just cut into like a triangle. I save it and use it till it gets really, really ucky. Put one of these little clippies on here and just put it in a plastic bag, put it in a little tub. That way you can use it over and over and over and it stays fine. And we want some blue dots. And let's see, I put that right about there. So I'm going to put blue dots pretty much any place on the back of here, I guess. I could also do it with dimensionals, but because this card already has 4 layers in the card itself and a couple more on the insides, I think I'm just going to try to keep it a little bit flat. And we'll see if that works. There we go. That's about where I wanted it, I think. That'll work. So that's our card. The only thing it needs is a little bit of bling. Where are my gems? We got these purple fine shimmer gems. I think they were a celebration item. Usually I write that on here. I gotta tell you, we got, if you went to On Stage, maybe some of you were there, you know we got catalogs. So, these are in the new catalog that's coming out. So I'm just going to add a couple of these. And I know I'm supposed to use them. I think I'm supposed to use my Take My Pick tools just to show you how to do it, but I'm not very good with a Take Your Pick tool. I spend way too much time deciding where I want gems. Does anybody else do that? I kind of get mad at myself. Like, that's crazy. Let it go. Now, maybe, do we need some gems on here? Probably not on this one. I don't know where I put them. Let's look at the other one. I think this one could use a couple little gems. So let's put one up here in the branches. Maybe. Oh. I think these are on my fingers. I lost it. And I'm not even using all the same colors. There we go. Now we got one on there. When we open that up, we see some sparkle. Maybe I should have had 2 up there, but that's all right. So that is the double card, or the double pocket fun fold. Isn't that cool? Add some designer series paper to the envelope, and there is our sympathy card. I think that will work. Now, I have 3 others that I'm going to show you. One of them was made with the Friends for Life stamp set bundle. And this is the Wildly Flowering Designer Series paper, I think. Yep, Wildly Flowering Designer Series paper. So here I used some new dies that were in the January online exclusives. Bring this up close. Can you see they're all rectangle dies that layer, but they all have different patterns around the edge. And they are called textured note dies. So they're all rectangles of varying sizes and different edges. I love them. So, okay, thank you for being a, we open it up and I use the heart over here, which is one of the dies from Friends for Life. And I use the friend die. And then on the inside, it just says love you. So that is made with this one. Two more. The next one I made with these arched wishes. This is also a stamp set that is an online exclusive introduced in January. Is that right? February. I'm trying to think. We can order now for May. Must be. I get so confused with these online. It's Arch Wishes. It's currently available. It's not in a catalog. I know it's an online exclusive. It coordinates with the Everyday Arches bundle, which I also have. And this one is just a stamp set. So if you want the arches that coordinate, you can buy those separately or you can buy those with the other bundle. But I'll be honest, I like the stamp set better than the one that came with the bundle. That one's really cool, but I just think I'll get more use out of this one. There's the balloons. So cheers to another year of you. And then my pocket says make a wish with the little cupcake. And when we open it up, we've got some banners and it says happy birthday. And I did not decorate this one on the inside like I did this one here. So you can do, there's lots of options with this fun fold. And then the last card is made with country flowers. This is in the current annual catalog. And here's my card. So here I made the bucket of flowers. And these are colored with Stampin' Blends. In my little pull-out card, I used some leaves. And I kind of tried to position it so when I stuck this in here, the leaves were showing behind the flowers. And the sentiment here is from Spring Corners, always in your corner, this one says. And when you open it, it's the pockets through the happy and sad. And here's another sympathy card. So that is card number 4, and made with the country corners and the country flowers and the country woods designer series paper. Okay. So here you can see this wood grain is going this way and this one's going horizontally because this is the back side and this one. But it works because sometimes we have slats of wood going this way and sometimes we have slats going that way. So when you're choosing your paper for this particular fun fold, just kind of play with it a little bit, figure out how it's going to look and how it's going to work once you start folding corners back. So, and I would suggest practicing with something you're not crazy about, and then you can figure out what happens to it. It'll make it easier to choose your designer paper. So that is a card for today. Let me clear my chair and flip back to my other camera. And we'll wrap it up. I hope you like that fun fold. It is, the fun fold itself is super easy. All your time is going to be spent making your pocket cards and decorating it however you want. But the decorating is kind of the fun part. Sometimes with fun folds, they get a little technical and might be a little stressful. In this case, not at all. So I hope you liked that. If you did, I'd love to have a thumbs up. and share it with somebody else that you know so they can um, learn along with the rest of us. And I guess that's all I need to say. God bless. Have a great rest of your week. Next week, though, I am back with some black magic. Um, I think you'll like it. It's kind of cool. Um, so we'll be back with that next week. But until then, have a great one. God bless and take care. Bye bye.